So Hunter Biden got charged with two misdemeanors for his tax evasion, failing to file taxes in 2017 and 2018. And then he got charged with a felony for being essentially having an illegal firearm. They said for only 5 days, but that felony is a deferred charge where it's going to go away. So he's not going to have the felony on his record. He's going to have these two misdemeanors for tax evasion, or essentially tax evasion. They're recommending no jail time. And this is, at the end of the day, a very sweetheart deal. And they're saying, well, this was the Trump U.S. attorney in Delaware, David Weiss, who came to this deal with Hunter Biden. People need to understand how the process works for these U.S. attorneys. You know this, Steve. U.S. attorneys, district court judges, and U.S. marshals are picked by home state senators in consultation with the White House. It is driven by the home state senators. So the fact that David Weiss was a U.S. attorney under Donald Trump is almost meaningless. That means the two Democrat home state senators picked him, and we're seeing that they have a good pick, because this David Weiss has been covering up for the Bidens for years. Bill Barr supposedly sent this credible allegation back in 2020, around January of 2020, that then that Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter took a $10 million foreign bribe from Burisma and changed American policy, threatened to cut off $1 billion in U.S. aid if this Burisma president didn't fire, or excuse me, if the Ukraine president didn't fire the Ukraine prosecutor investigating Burisma and the Bidens. That should end Joe Biden's career. He should resign from office if that's true. David Weiss had this allegation for years and apparently did nothing about it. And Bill Barr didn't even think, hey, maybe I should tell Congress, key officials in Congress, that a leading presidential rival could be compromised by $10 million in foreign bribes. And this foreign bribe could have been transacted with 17 audio recordings, 15 with Hunter's, 2 with then Vice President Joe Biden. Oh, by the way, the Burisma executive who allegedly got into this bribery scheme with then Vice President Joe Biden and his scumbag son Hunter may have been a Russian asset. So you could have Russia with blackmail and compromising material on a potential president of the United States. So what did Bill Barr do with that? He buried it. He buried it with a David Weiss, this handpicked U.S. attorney by two Democrat senators. David Weiss just delivered for the Bidens again with this sweetheart deal with Hunter. Hunter's going to get no jail time for being the bag man for Joe Biden's foreign bribery and other corruption schemes. And it looks like he's not, depending on what this plea agreement says, this could be the end of the road for Hunter. He may not get charged with anything else, including Burisma, depending on how this plea agreement is written. Now, the silver lining out of this, and that's if House Republicans actually can grow a backbone on this one. They've been getting better and better every day. Comer's been great. They need to subpoena Hunter Biden the second that he is sentenced, the second that this judge accepts this sweetheart plea agreement. And they need to subpoena Hunter Biden. He can no longer plead the Fifth Amendment at that point because he's already pled guilty. They need to haul him in, bring in his documents, bring in Hunter Biden, make him testify to congressional investigators in a deposition about all of his foreign bribery and corruption schemes of Hunter, James, Joe, Jill, the whole scumbag Biden family, except for the 4-year-old granddaughter in Arkansas who got cut out, and then put him in front of the cameras and the bright lights for a public hearing. The American people need to understand and know before going into 2024 that Joe Biden is compromised by his corrupt foreign dealings. And frankly, if this evidence is true, he needs to step down. He needs to resign from the presidency because he is compromised. And if he doesn't, the House Republicans need to impeach him and let Senate Democrats try to justify keeping a compromised president of the United States in office. Bill Barr, as the Attorney General, had this evidence that was credible from a whistleblower who the FBI paid $200,000 over 10 years. They had this evidence deemed credible by this Pennsylvania U.S. attorney before it was sent to the Delaware U.S. attorney by Bill Barr. Did Bill Barr follow up after they had this damning allegation since January of 2020? Did Bill Barr think it might have been a good idea to alert key congressional leaders that, hey, we have this evidence, we have a potential president of the United States in this next election who could be compromised by a $10 million bribe from Burisma by a Russian asset or a likely Russian asset. I mean, did Bill Barr think that it would be a good idea just to cover that up and not say anything and just send it to this hand-picked Democrat U.S. attorney and do nothing? Barr has a lot of explaining to do. We had credible evidence that a potential president of the United States was compromised by a $10 million foreign bribe. Bill Barr buried this by sending it to a U.S. attorney in Delaware, handpicked by 2 Democrat senators. Apparently didn't follow up, certainly didn't alert Congress, key officials in Congress, key lawmakers, that we have a dire situation here where we could have a president of the United States elected, and then he has to be impeached and removed because he's compromised. What Bill Barr and the Biden Justice Department will claim is executive privilege here and other privileges where they will try to preclude his testimony. This is why House Republicans need to open an impeachment inquiry on President Biden. And with an inquiry, not an impeachment vote yet, but an impeachment inquiry, then you have broad power in the House to subpoena people and records over claims of privileges like executive privilege. Well, that's how it worked with Trump's 2 impeachment inquiries. Maybe these uniparty judges will carve out Biden, probably carve out Biden because they're uniparty judges, and there was the Trump derangement exception to every constitutional provision and statute imaginable for 4 years. But House Republicans should open an impeachment inquiry. There's no excuse for why they haven't. We have a president of the United States who allegedly, likely, took a $10 million foreign bribe from Burisma, 5 to Joe, 5 to Hunter, and then Vice President Joe Biden threatened to cut off $1 billion in U.S. aid to Ukraine if the Ukrainian president didn't have Ukrainian president didn't fire the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating Burisma and the Bidens fired. It doesn't get more corrupt than that. That is clear foreign bribery and corruption. And if this evidence turns out to be true, which it looks likely, there are 17 audio recordings, 15 with Hunter, 2 with then Vice President Joe Biden. If it's true, Joe Biden can't stay in office. He is compromised. He took a foreign bribe, and Russia almost certainly has blackmail on the President of the United States. So House Republicans, your backbone's growing a bit over time, but let's just have it grow a little bit more and open an impeachment inquiry.